Run it back, nation. What is good? It is your boy DJ Eastwood. Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. Algo gang, do your thing. Hit the like button on the video. Subscribe. Turn your notifications on. All that good stuff. We're going straight from the cell phone today because I got some new audio equipment up here in the studio. I wanted to have time to set it all up, but it's updating the firmware. So we ran out of time. So we're going straight iPhone video today. Let's get into the business.
Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intro.
So the Sixers beat the Raptors 117-110. Yeah, they were up 21 points. Yeah, they kind of blew the lead. Did Joel Embiid struggle against the Toronto Raptors? Joel Embiid had 25 points and 12 rebounds. For Joel Embiid, that's a struggle. That's how damn good he is. You know what I mean? Tyrese Maxey only got 8 field goals off in the game. He just struggled to really find his spots. But I think he was spacing the floor for Joel and got his, scored his points here and there when we really needed it. So he gave you 13. The main story in this game is that the Sixers bench went nuts. The Sixers bench of Jalen McDaniels, Shake Milton, Paul Reed, and Daniel House Jr. won this game. They won this game because they were on the floor with James Harden. James Harden had a comeback game. He's not looked good recently in the past couple of games, having the sore Achilles, coming back slow, not looking like he has the elevation on his shot, not looking like he has a burst to the rim. James Harden looked like he had elevation, burst to the rim, everything in this game. Even a play where he gets OG Anunoby, one of the best one-on-one defenders in the NBA, in an ISO situation, and straight crosses him out of his Wally moccasins and finishes at the rim. Gets pushed a little bit. No call from the officials because they hate James Harden. But James Harden turns around, comes back down the floor, and you can read his lips, and he screamed, "I'm still here." You know what I mean? So it's kind of a proud moment for James Harden. When he struggles, he's 33 years old, nagging injuries, he might sometimes feel like, oh my God, am I getting towards the end of my career? But then he has a game like this, a crossover like that, a finish like that, and he says, "I'm still here." So you love to see it. The second quarter lineup is really what we got to talk about because it was just so interesting. And Doc Rivers, I haven't seen him do this lineup with this team this entire season. We saw it last game, and we saw it a lot in this game. And this could be the winning formula. This could be the winning formula. In the second quarter, the Philadelphia 76ers, Doc Rivers, and coaching staff ran with a lineup the majority of the time of James Harden, Jalen McDaniels, Shake Milton, Paul Reed, and Daniel House Jr., or the Black Air Force One lineup, if you will. You know what I mean? And they went on a massive run. First of all, James Harden had 15 points in that quarter. He was a plus 19. He had 15 points and 6 assists in the second quarter with this lineup. Paul Reed had 9 points, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block. And missed a dunk. And tweeted himself and said, "We need that dunk, Paul," which is funny. If you're not following Paul Reed on Twitter, you should. It's very entertaining. But that lineup was crazy. The athleticism, the size, the two-way ability of Paul Reed, Jalen McDaniels, and Daniel House Jr. Size, athleticism, speed, ability to play basketball, and ability to rotate, switch everything on defense, and create havoc for the other team's offense, steals, blocks, diving on the floor, loose balls. Just so you know, the leader in the NBA of loose balls tracked down per 36 minutes is Paul Reed. That was tweeted out by my guy Sean Bernard the other day, and Paul Reed retweeted it. Shout out to Sean. Paul Reed retweeted you. You made it, my guy. But the second quarter is where the Sixers ran away with this game. And it was James Harden leading a bench unit, and I think this could be the winning formula. I really do. There's been a trend lately. I don't know if this will continue, but there's been a trend lately of kind of the Sixers bench looking better than the starters. And I think that's Doc Rivers realizing, hey, the slow, unathletic lineups that I've been playing of PJ Tucker, Tobias Harris, and George Niang on the stat sheet is not good. And then he realizes, wow, I played Jalen McDaniels, Paul Reed, and Daniel House Jr., and we have so much more success. And then he says, what if I put James Harden in that bench lineup? It was crazy. The Sixers in the second quarter outscored the Toronto Raptors 46-27 and went up by 21 points. The Toronto Raptors in that second quarter were a minus 19. The Sixers were a plus 19, of course. But that lineup is just, it could be the winning formula. It really could. Give me all your thoughts and opinions in the comments. I mean, should some of these players be getting even more minutes? The only negative on the bench in this game was George Niang, and he was a -5. And he was, again, just terrible. He's outmatched against teams like the Toronto Raptors. They're too athletic. You can't play George Niang. If you get a Toronto Raptors series in the playoffs, you can't play George Niang at all. He's just straight up not athletic enough to be in a lineup when you're playing against teams like this. So we'll see if Doc Rivers continues with this. It really impressed me. I still can't figure out what he was doing in that Denver Nuggets game to be playing Dwayne Dedmon at backup center and putting Paul Reed on the deep bench. But once again, Paul Reed proves that he's the guy. Paul Reed proves that he's the backup center, and he does his thing in this game. I mean, watching him run with James Harden was beautiful. Picking and rolling. I mean, Paul Reed is really a roll guy. He's a cutter. He flashes to the rim. He's a rim runner. And James Harden, it just takes advantage of that and really elevates players like Paul Reed to another level. I mean, when you watch James Harden in Houston, somebody like Daniel House Jr. was on another level that he hasn't been on since any other time that he played without James. So I really, really liked that second quarter lineup, and that's what won the game for the Sixers. The Raptors made a little bit of comeback in the second half. Of course, it's the Sixers, but it's also the Raptors. They're a tough team to play. A lot of size. Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, Precious Achiuwa, Chris Boucher, who shoots like them boys fresh off the boat when I was in jail with a bunch of drug addicts and illegal immigrants. That's how all the dudes in the rec center shot the ball, like Chris Boucher. He reminds me of my 4 days in jail back in 2015. It is what it is. But yeah, I want to see Doc Rivers continue to play these lineups. And I would like to see him mix in these players, Jalen McDaniels, Paul Reed, and Daniel House Jr., with Joel Embiid, with Tyrese Maxey. Maybe shake up the starting lineup. Maybe finally get this combination of PJ Tucker and Tobias Harris the hell out of here, man. It's too short. It's too slow. It's too unathletic. I think this is what needs to happen. Now, if I had to make a prediction, Doc Rivers is not going to do that. Doc Rivers is going to go with guys that he trusts in the playoffs, and the Sixers are ultimately going to get outmatched by teams like the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics because of the lack of athleticism on the floor, but not necessarily on the roster. And then when you get a new coach next year, Daryl Morey will finally have a coach who takes full advantage of the players that he puts on the roster, if I had to predict. But listen, this was quick. It was unscripted. I was setting up my studio this morning. I just wanted to get this video out to give you my thoughts on the Sixers game last night. Y'all have a good day, man. Love you all. Subscribe to the channel. Follow the playback room, playback.tv/runningbackphilly. You know the drill. We out of here. Peace.